So I just saw this video on Instagram, so I know that it's true. This guy says that research confirms that being a mother alone at home with your children is more challenging than 99.9% of regular occupations worldwide. The data shows that cortisol spikes are the highest when you're interrupted, lacking control of the situation, and when there are intense emotions involved, especially with your loved ones, all of which are directly associated with being a mother. So unless you're a soldier or working in an emergency room, which includes similar cortisol spikes, your job isn't as stressful compared to being a mother. What do you think? I agree. I mean, I can't say what it's like to be a soldier or work in an ER, although I can say that I was just at the ER all weekend, all Sunday, for about 6 hours with my son because he fell and nearly knocked his tooth out. Very stressful indeed. It happened on Saturday. He was at his dad's house and they were just playing in the living room, and he was with our daughter in the other room for a second and just heard bang, just a huge bang. Ran in there. Alfie had stood on a portable clothing rack with wheels, just playing as boys do, 5-year-old boys do, and he fell right on his face. And I got the call that there's blood everywhere. Oh my God. Jump in the car, go over there. And yeah, his mouth was covered in blood. I just held him. I'm covered in blood. And I tried to touch in his mouth, and then I saw that his right front tooth was really very loose. And I was like, okay, off to the ER we go. So Alfie and I went to the ER, and we were there for hours, and everything was fine. I mean, his tooth is loose. It's probably going to come out. Thank God it's his baby tooth. And even the doctor said that his son's tooth came out naturally at 5, so it could have been so much worse. But it was so scary because I didn't know if he had damaged what was going on in there. It was really hard to get him to keep opening his mouth for me to see what was going on in there. But all I know is so much blood. And it was so stressful and scary. And they were talking about, oh, maybe we'll have to do stitches. We don't know. That's what one of the nurses said. And I was just like, okay. And then when the doctor came in, he looked, he felt his head to make sure there weren't any bumps on it. But yeah, back to this video. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I am not a stay-at-home mom, but being at home alone with my kids is the most stressful and amazing and fun. It's all of the things. Like, someone described motherhood to me once as brutiful, which is brutal and beautiful. And I think that's just like the perfect made up word to describe motherhood. It's brutiful. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, I would say overall though, I am stressed. It's stressful making sure they're safe and, not getting too much screen time and eating properly. And you just want to be as present as possible, but then you're sleep deprived, so it can be difficult. And of course, depending on the age, we're dealing with sometimes multiple meltdowns a day. It's so funny. My 5-year-old just recently calmed down. And he's chill. He's matured. It's like he's no longer a toddler. And it's so kind of amazing to see. I mean, I loved him as a toddler, but I'm really loving this phase for him. He's just so much more regulated. He knows how to regulate. He is calmer. He doesn't have nearly as many meltdowns. He sleeps better. He communicates better. It's just incredible. And then my sweet, sweet angel of a daughter just turned 3. And I swear to God, on her birthday, the devil horns showed up. And it was just like, I literally was like, she was having some crazy meltdown. I was like, whoa. I was like, Poppy, you're possessed. Like, kind of joking. And she was like, I'm possessed. And it freaked me out. But it was also very funny to see her look at me and go, I'm possessed. Yeah, so now my 3-year-old is becoming extraordinarily defiant and moody and struggling to sleep, which that's a whole other thing. Is I touched on co-sleeping before, but now I'm seeing all this research saying that kids are best off sleeping with their parents up until the age of 6 or 7. I'm sorry, what? Nobody told me that. It was always like, teach him to sleep independently, teach him how to self-soothe, teach him to sleep independently. And like, I get that because we want our own lives too. It's like, we don't want to have to go to bed at 7:30 because they're going to bed at 7:30. But now research suggests that kids' brains develop better if they co-sleep with their parents until 6 or 7. What? Now, you need to do your own research on this because, again, this is some random guy on Instagram saying this. So I am not saying by any means that that's the way at all. But it's funny because recently both my kids have been wanting to sleep with me. They go to bed independently, though I lay in there and snuggle with them until they're dozing. But they both are coming out in the middle of the night and hopping into my bed, and I'm letting them. But initially I had this guilt, like, oh, I'm creating a bad habit. They should be sleeping independently. I should bring them back to bed. And it's like, what feels truly natural to me is to let them sleep and cuddle with their mother, their mama bear. You know, it makes sense that they would feel safer. But this guy also said, like, when they sleep with their parents, they're less likely to be bedwetters, which is interesting because their anxiety is down, and they sleep better, and so their brains develop better. I don't know. This is just something I saw. Don't quote me on it. It's just an interesting conversation because I think other cultures really embrace co-sleeping. And I think in America, we're just kind of taught to like have our babies self-soothe and our toddlers self-soothe and to make sure that they go to sleep when they're still awake so they know how to self-soothe and sleep independently. So it's just a very interesting conversation. What else did I want to talk about, dude? I want to talk about the fact that I realized once again, because I've had this revelation many times in my life, I've realized that I am absolutely miserable and insufferable and a fucking monster when I'm when I'm selfish, when I'm thinking of myself. I'm not a happy person when I'm focused on, and I'm not talking about self-care, you know? I'm talking about when my thoughts are consumed with, you know, myself. I'm not happy. And I know, like, we know this, right? But I have to remind myself that I am the happiest when my focus is on how can I love you rather than how can I be loved? How can I serve you rather than how can I be served? Because when I'm in this place of, oh, okay, like here's an example. I'll just give you an example. I am seeing someone and I literally, and this is very embarrassing to say out loud, okay? So I'm not proud of this. But I had posted some like comedy video, and of course, my stuff, you know, I've got friggin' a stupid amount of followers, so they're gonna be seen by many people around the world. That's really cool. That's awesome. That's my big goal, right? That I say all the time. I wonder if you have a goal that you affirm every day, and if so, what is it? So like my career goal, right? It's pretty simple. It's to make millions of people laugh around the world and to make a great living doing that. And at one point it was to inspire and entertain millions of people around the world and make a great living doing that. So I kind of alternate between the two. But anyway, so I do that through my comedy videos, but I had posted one, and of course, you know, the guy that I like, right? You want that person to like your art, like your stuff, right? And I looked and I noticed he didn't like it, and I kind of went, oh, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. You know, he's not really on Instagram a lot. But then he like shared a meme to me, sent me a few memes that he had liked. So you're telling me you liked this random meme, but you don't like my video? How dare you? And I was like, well, I'm sure he liked the one before. So I just like looked at my video of the one before, and no, he didn't like it. Then I noticed he had sent me some video, DM'd me some random video that he had liked. Some random little boy playing soccer or some shit. And then I was like, well, I'm sure he liked the one before that. And so I looked at the likes on the video I had posted before that. No, he didn't. But he certainly liked a fucking SpongeBob clip that he sent me that day. So now I'm getting a little salty. What's going on here? And it wasn't just me needing validation from the guy that I like. I started really getting down on myself because I started telling myself stories that weren't necessarily true, like, wow, he just doesn't like what I do. He doesn't actually like my writing or my performing or my art. Because if he did, he would like the video like he liked those other videos that he sent me. And then I kept looking, and it was literally the last 19, and this is so embarrassing, the last 19 videos that I posted, he didn't like them. And it's so funny because I got so sad, but it was like so embarrassing how sad I got, and also showed me that I am still codependent. So in my last relationship, I was incredibly codependent with Steven. I mean, if Steven didn't like something I did, I was crushed. I wanted to make Steven happy. I dare I say Steven was my higher power for a minute. I like was so just needed his validation to be okay. Needed to know that he thought I was great and he loved me to be okay. Oh man, it's horrible to even say that out loud. You know, I should know internally that I'm enough, and so long as I love who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm putting out there, like that's enough, right? Not to mention, I've got I just said not dimension. It's not to mention, right? But I said not dimension. Why do I say that? I say things wrong. It's a problem. Not to mention, I cannot. Okay, focus, Laura. Oh my God. This podcast is appropriately named. Idiot. Okay. I was realizing how codependent I still am, that I care so deeply about this person's validation that I went back to see when the last post was, and I got really sad. And again, it wasn't just like that I needed validation from him. It was like, oh, he doesn't really like me or love me, because if he did, he would love what I was doing. And yeah, I got in my head, and the healthy thing to do would have been you know, do some affirmations, some self-love affirmations, girl. You don't need some man's approval or fucking double tap on Instagram to show that I'm enough or to feel okay that day, right? Do some self-love affirmations. You know, I'm enough, and just know that what I'm doing is good enough even if this person doesn't like it. Blah, blah, we get it. Okay, so that's one thing I could have done. I could have called my sponsor and expressed my insecurity and resentment. Instead, I was like a little short with him and just a little distant with him, because in my mind I was like, this is a lose-lose situation. If I tell him that I'm hurt, that he didn't like the last 19 posts of mine on social media, then he's gonna go, oh my God, I'm just gonna start liking them even though he doesn't really like them. Because I want him to just like them because he likes them, not because I'm sad. But then it's also funny because some of my best friends in the world, they never like my shit, and I don't ever take it personally. Sometimes they'll comment to me and be like, oh, this video was funny, it made me laugh, Laura. And that's cool, but like there's no expectations there, because I know they love me, and I know that their love for me has nothing to do with the double tap, that they double tap me in real life. They double tap my heart with phone calls and coffees and get-togethers. I don't need the double tap on social media to feel like they, you know, love me. And they feel the same with me. There's none of that expectation. But we also don't send each other memes back and forth all day. So I guess, you know, and then in my last relationship, I think he was so involved in my work. You know, we filmed things together all the time. It was so collaborative. So of course he was going to show love and support there. I mean, he was a part of it, and I don't know. I don't want to compare, and I shouldn't compare. I guess I just, in that moment, I realized, oh my God, I need help. I need to work on myself. So I called Steven, I asked him to watch the kids for 90 minutes so I could go take a yoga class and calm down. And it wasn't just that. It was like, you know, I had been up since 5 a.m. with the kids, and like, right, the most stressful job in the world. And so I had been doing that for hours and hours, and it was just a lot. And then I noticed that thing, and I got in my head a little bit about it. Anyway, I went to class and I prayed about it. And because I just don't ever want my mood to be dependent on what someone else does or doesn't do. You know, it's like in the 12-step program, it's like you have to, they say you surrender yourself to a higher power, you know? No person, place, or situation or thing is going to fill the hole in the soul. And so they suggest praying to a power greater than yourself, whatever that looks like for you, whatever that is. I'm not talking about any sort of religion, whatever. But so when I was in class, I got a lot of clarity, and I just prayed for clarity, and what came to me was to be of service. It was like, this is so dumb. There are so many things going on in the world, so many, and there's just so much more important stuff happening, you know, even just being of service more to my children, to my friends, to my family. And then how else could I make a difference in the world? Basically, what came to me was service. Be of service. Get out of self. Stop asking yourself, Laura, what can I get? Give me that double tap. Give me that like. Give me that love. Give me that validation. Give me attention. Me. No. That is a recipe for misery, man, for me. So it just became very clear. It was this reminder to ask my higher power, what can I give today? Start off the day not asking what can I get, but what can I give? How can I serve? How can I serve my my children and my friends and my family? And again, I get it. Self-care is important. That's why I went to fucking yoga. Because I know that. I know that. And so it just became very clear. So that's my big revelation, that selfishness and self-centeredness are the root of my problems. And along with that is resisting the reality of what is. That is why I suffer. Because I'm in self and I'm resisting the reality of what is. And the only way to combat that is to get into radical acceptance over what is, whether I like it or not, accept it. Then to practice loving myself and accepting myself for exactly who I am, right? Understanding that happiness and contentment is an inside job, that no boyfriend or career or fucking hairstyle or jumper, Jesus, I've lived with a Brit for too long. No sweater is going to fill the hole in the soul, that it comes from within. And to make sure I check in with myself and go, who did I help today? And I'm not saying like, I've got to solve world hunger. I'm saying like, who did I help today? Did I call my mom and ask how she's doing? Have I checked in with a friend who I know is struggling? I'm in a program. Did I call or text a newcomer who's trying to get sober and has 2 days, and maybe I could help them in some way? Did I stay present with my daughter or my son for at least 30 minutes? I'm talking no distractions, no phone, no directing the play, just letting them fully play and be present with me and do whatever they want. Did I don't know. That was it. That was the revelation, you guys. That was the revelation. There you go. I told you my embarrassing story. And I think in the end, I never brought it up to him because I realized that's not healthy. That's codependent. And there's nothing really he can say or do because my happiness is not contingent on him. And so he shows his love for me in other ways. And that's cool. And I either accept that or I don't. But I'm choosing to focus on self-love and acceptance and service today. Let's go. Let's do this. We're doing this. We've done it. Y'all, I keep my solo podcast short and sweet because I know you have busy lives. Most of you are moms. And I know you're busy. So I keep these short, so I'm going to end this here. But make sure if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you're listening on Spotify or wherever, make sure to follow me there. New episodes out every Thursday. I love you guys. Please let me know your thoughts on some of these topics in the comments below. And I hope that you have an amazing day, amazing, grateful day. As always, maybe just for me, for you, think about 5 things you're grateful for. Just 5 things right now, just like a mental gratitude list. You don't even have to write it down, just 5 things, because it's really, really hard to be pissed off and grateful at the same time. So, yeah, dude. Should I bring back these idiot sweaters? They're embroidered, and I love them. And people ask me where I get them all the time, and I used to make them, so, right? I should bring them back. I love a little self-deprecation. All right. I love you guys. Talk soon.